Hold on, let me try something real quick.
Let me try something real.
I know. That's
Like,
pretty much it.
Whatever that was, don't do it.
Nice.
Welcome to another episode of the Starside Lounge, the DBO podcast. With us today, we have Claude.
Hello.
Hi. And we've got Leviathan.
Hi.
And Xenos.
Hello.
And I'm Beorn. I'm introducing myself this time. See, you learn. And we've got a couple things to talk about. It's been a busy couple weeks. And I think it started off with Bungie Day, which was kind of quiet, but had a couple nice things. Claude, what was your favorite Bungie Day thing?
I like the fan video, the video put together of all the fan stuff.
Yeah,
that is the thing that I've loved for years and years and years, and I thought that was a really nice tribute to people who care about the game.
Agreed. Xenos, Levi?
I was on vacation, so I got it in bits and
pieces.
Yeah, but the little compass thing you have to fill out, I now have to.
The moments of triumph.
Yeah, the moments of triumph thing. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, who's gonna carry me through Skolas?
I'll help you.
There you
Can
go.
you carry both of us, or one at a time, or?
I could probably get you both through.
Okay.
That sounds deadly.
I am a level 16, by the way. So.
Oh, probably not then.
Wow.
No, just my warlock.
I was gonna say you're higher than level 16. I know that. Yeah, and so we got the Loria Prima. I don't know if that's how you say it. Got that emblem coming if you do finish your Moments of Triumph, which I was a little disappointed that I checked it on my Xbox character and it was already done. I was like, congratulations, which was both like, okay, cool, nice. Like I've done a lot of stuff, but there was nothing new for me to do. And then I decided, well, I should go check on my PlayStation character, see what's up. Not so much.
See, I felt
That's
almost the opposite, because I was like, if it's not finished, that probably means I have to make it to the lighthouse.
Oh, right.
So,
Well.
so when I saw it was completely filled out, I was like, oh, thank goodness.
That would just be mean, though.
I'm surprised they didn't have one of the nodes be ghosts.
I was really
I
surprised
thought
by
that would be the same.
The only thing I thought of with that was, well, no, because you had to have the expansions anyway
Yeah.
to get the raid material. So, yeah, okay.
Well, they even could have made it like what the achievement is, which is just finding 50 instead of find all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many are there now? Like 60?
Oh, there's way more than 50. That's just
right.
what the achievement was.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the core game had like 60 or 62 or something like that, and then each DLC has added a few.
Yeah.
So
I'm 2 short on PlayStation and 4 short on Xbox. I just have to go back and play the missions.
I found all but one in the original game.
Just by yourself?
And I was just, I was so mad because I couldn't find it.
Which one was it?
It was the glitched one in
downstairs?
in the Vex.
Oh, in the
Like where the that dark tunnel or dark building that you have to go through.
Oh, the subway?
Yeah, the subway. There's one there that was glitched until...
Oh, it's
somewhere.
up on like a television screen thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was glitched.
It was glitched in the early days.
The one that was glitched for
I
me
think they
was the
fixed
one
it in
down
Dark Below or something.
in the
They
Rasputin bunker. That was the one I couldn't get until they fixed it.
Yeah, that one was pretty hard, if I remember.
the 2 knights were there.
3, yeah. And there's the one like is a huge bullet sponge.
Also, playing as a hunter, I mean, as soon as I switched to a hunter is my primary, but as soon as I switched to the Titan, it became so much easier to just glide up and grab ghosts because
Yeah.
the hunter jump, especially there's an area, it's like it's that indoor cabal base that you have to go
Yes.
through for the. Yeah, so you have to do kind of like a jumping puzzle almost, like platforming, and that was near impossible with the hunter's jumps.
It's
Yeah.
actually really impossible with the Titan Striker, and it didn't occur to me for a really long time to switch to a defender just for the jump. So I missed that jump over and over and over again. Oh my gosh, made me crazy.
I really want those bones of Mal, or however you say that, for the hunter, so you can get the 4th jump.
Oh yeah.
And this is making me think of it again. Because hunter jump's great, I love it, but
I like it better than the others, but for purely ghost hunting, it might be the worst.
yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've died on Prison of Elders because I was playing a hunter and forgot and couldn't make the jump up to one of the the platforms.
I'll tell you what I died.
Shit, that's right, Emma.
When I play as a hunter or warlock in the Crucible, I die all the time because I'll like jump backwards off a ledge on purpose, thinking that I can switch directions because I usually play a hunter.
Oh yeah.
And then I just slowly glide to my death.
I've definitely flung myself. I've had the opposite problem because with the warlock glide, I know that I can launch myself up and then glide to a specific spot.
Oh yeah.
And I'll set myself up for that with the hunter jump, but doing it eats up an extra jump that I don't actually end up having. And so like on Shores of Time, I've like flung myself off the map and it's like, nope, I'm not gonna make it back. But yeah, so I was interested. I was curious though that the ghosts were not part of the Moments of Triumph requirement. But is Skolas sort of like the most difficult, you think, for a lot of people? I feel like
I think
a lot of
people.
people.
It really depends. So
Yeah.
I think I have a few friends at work that don't have enough people to play with. So he's beaten Skolas. He's never beaten the Vault of Glass, this one guy, or Crota, because
Does
he
he
doesn't
know
have
about
enough people.
Does he know about the Fire Team Builder?
I actually told him about it.
Yeah, I think that's
Well,
definitely
I
a
think-
trick. But
so the people who, when it first came up, the people who listed what they were missing, the Skolas was the most common thing they were missing, and actually treasure chests was the second most common. I was surprised by that.
yeah, I had gone through and scoured for all the treasure chests early on, but I'm missing 3 on PlayStation, and I don't know which 3 they are. I accidentally found one the other day, though. I was just sort of wandering around, and I was like, I know I'm missing a chest, and I think there's one in here. Oh my gosh, I haven't picked this up yet.
There you go.
I think there's one in the Nexus strike where it's just in those cubicles, like in one of the first rooms.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to have played that strike like 30 times before I actually found the gold chest just sitting there.
And there's a ghost a little further on that I don't know how. I accidentally found it like the first time through that strike. Is the one in the sink?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. You don't even have to go to that room.
No,
think.
I have no idea why I was in there. Maybe I was just lost. But yeah, really interesting. So we've got let's see here. So last week we had some UI update information in the weekly update, and sort of the big thing was a new structure for missions and quests, and sort of they're going to take the current content and roll it into the the Taken King model, which was very interesting. But I think it's going to be kind of cool because you'll have like little story threads, and each of the individual missions and requirements will be sort of check boxes in there, I guess. But I was sort of curious what you guys thought about that.
I'm super excited about it, honestly. I love when they make changes to the UI because they already did a great job with the original game, I think. But every time they've improved it, I've been like, oh, wow, this is just a step up.
Yeah, how did I live without this?
And
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
like, the way quests are currently implemented in the game, like, after seeing this, they're kind of terrible, honestly. Because they're basically just almost like a separate bounty instead of being like a quest. You can't see where you've been. You couldn't see, you could only see what the next step is.
Right. There's no record of the chain or any real connection between individual elements. Or like, how did I get started on this thing? Oh, yeah, that's right. I went and picked up the
But what's
thing.
interesting about that to me is that I didn't care about any of that stuff until I saw the new UI.
Oh, same.
None of that bothered me. But now I agree with you. All of those things are weaknesses, and I don't understand how we didn't have it already.
Well, and it occurred to me that it has bothered me before, but I didn't realize why. Like, I had a couple Eris missions at the same time, and I couldn't remember which one was which. Like, which one was
Right, they're actually marked the same.
Yeah.
They look the same.
So, the fact that now we can see exactly what we're working towards is pretty awesome.
What got me most excited was, especially, I mean, just how House of Wolves was already including those quotes from like the, history of the reef or whatever when you completed a bounty or took one.
Oh, right.
And those are going to be included in that quest UI, and like it's going to be a lot more. When you find those things like weeks apart, it's a lot harder to kind of timeline that out in your head, like this history of battles and stuff. And so having that as a quick reference as you're going through the quest and being able to flip through those, I think that's a really exciting thing for the future. And like it's just like a way to slowly bring in elements of the Destiny story that we don't have so far. And that I think that maybe we'll start seeing come into the UI or something, or some element of it.
Is that you said you were hoping the Grimoire would come into the UI?
Yeah, I mean, like those that history of battle stuff is already kind of that feels like a Grimoire kind of thing, and you can find, parts of that plugs into the cards that you find of the people you hunt and stuff, and it does feel like it's like they're quotes from the Grimoire is how it feels to me, and having that being in this new UI, you can read them all at once, and all of a sudden those histories will make more sense and I think have more relevance, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that got me excited.
And one other thing I noticed that I'm excited about is it looks like there's going to be more quests in the Taken King, because they have like the Path of the Blade Dancer and Pistol of the Sun, Tour of Combat, Patrols 101. Those are all things that it doesn't look like they're focused on the new expansion as far as lore, just from the way it's worded. And they're the kind of thing I'd think that you'd see in the bounty section currently, but they're putting in new quests in instead, which is, I think, a cool change, because I know a lot of people have complained about, the fact that certain things were bounties instead of quests and things like that. So it looks like they're going to differentiate more than they have in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, it just gets me excited for the future, because if they can just make so much more dynamic and exciting quests that, I mean, you could have a quest that some of my favorite Grimoire cards were the Thorn and Last Word kind of story that interweaved between a few cards, and you could have a quest that somehow retraced steps from that or something, and then you'd find little quotes from that history, and that would actually appear in the game, and I think that would be really exciting, instead of having to go research it on a phone or computer later on.
Yeah.
One of the things that I was sort of curious about was that since they're going through and they're going to stack up all the old, or I guess current content into these quest lines, I wonder if there's replayability for this, because all of my characters, right, have already been through all of this material. And I can go back and play individual missions, but I'm sort of curious if you can kick off a quest chain again and
right, which you can't do now.
Right. Because they're not really... Yeah, if it was a chain, you can't go back to the beginning. But if, with this new quest mode and a specific UI for it, if there's a way to go back and restart it and say, I'm going to go through this sequence again. And it wouldn't probably be like... Oh, go ahead.
Maybe. Well, I was just going to say, are you going to get the rewards, or is that going to be just like you get them one time and then...
Right, well, that's what I was wondering, is I would not expect to get the rewards again, especially like Murmur, right? I don't want to have 500 Murmurs stacked up after doing the Eris quest line.
Do you want to even have 3? Is the
no, right, exactly, and I don't. But with I could see though some use in just when you're replaying it, and like you still get the experience drop, right? I wouldn't expect that the XP would go away. But I don't know. It would be nice if you could be able to go back through the material and sort of experience it again as the sequence.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's on the drawing board or not.
I don't either. Sounds interesting though.
Yeah. And then there was sort of like quest trackers in the UI. That's what I was really stoked about that. How it shows little progress bars down to the bottom right corner. Because I'm constantly...
when I'm going through them, I can never remember where I am.
Right.
Or how far along I have to go.
So I have to like pause. Invariably I'm like standing on Mars somewhere, and I pause and I go back into my menu and I find out, okay, I gotta get like 3 more majors. And as I come out, something just spawned in and is shooting at me.
Yeah. Well,
and when you're playing on the 360, that's considerably worse.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, and Crucible was even worse because you literally couldn't check it mid-game if you wanted to.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice to be able to see
die.
that. Like, I just need that one, it's a difference between knowing that you've got to get 5 multi-kills or 1 multi-kill.
Right.
Yeah.
To finish it out, so...
Didn't the Reach achievement, or not achievements, what were they called? The
Challenges.
challenges. They popped in as you did them, didn't they?
Yeah.
With updates, yeah.
Yeah, that was sort of like how... So the game... So Destiny right now has that little thing that comes across the bottom, and it gives it... When you hit some sort of benchmark along the way, it's like, you're,
update.
3,300 out of 5,000 kills for this thing.
The Grimoire update thing.
Yeah.
Which
But
to
it wasn't
me,
particularly useful, though.
Yeah, I just kind of disregarded 3/4 of those messages. So
it's interesting that you ask for that. You say, wouldn't it be nice if it were done like Reach? When that happened in Reach, there was all sorts of complaining from people about how it cluttered up the UI, and they hated the fact that they were trying to shoot at somebody and something popped up in front of their reticle and suddenly they couldn't hit their target and they died. So
yeah, that's true, because it popped up
they
like
can't win.
right there.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is a good compromise though, because I doubt they're gonna add more popping in, if I had to guess. But you can check it really easily in just 1 second, whereas before it was at least a 10-20 second process, which obviously doesn't sound like much, but
it definitely is.
yeah.
And another cool thing, and I somehow I missed this like the first time I went through, but the fact that completed bounties, you don't have to go back to the bounty bot to turn them in, which is kind of cool.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it says
I didn't notice that either.
Completed bounties will be turned in from the quests screen.
Well, that's not useful, but automatically, or do you get to choose? Because I really like the fact that that's good, because I want to be able to equip the equipment that needs upgrading.
Right. And I think the way it's
Yeah.
worded, because it doesn't say anything
Agreed.
automatically, and if it just turned it in instantaneously, I think it would say that,
I think it would make a lot of people probably angry.
yeah. No, I didn't mean to do that.
Right.
Well, it's interesting though that they're letting you turn it in without going back, but not pick up new ones, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I'm not surprised though. I mean, you gotta be able to. You need traffic back at the tower, right? Like
Right.
its function is a social space, and there should be people there. And if you can do all of its stuff not at the tower, then
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how many of you do social things in the tower with people that aren't in your party?
oh, never.
Never.
So,
But
okay.
do talking to the NPCs count? Or
do they talk to you? I mean, they talk to you. Do you talk back?
No.
there's been at times.
I have told Varix to shut up a couple of times.
Yes. Does
I
it
talked
work?
to Amanda Holiday a
It
long
doesn't.
time one night.
Had you been drinking?
I won't answer that.
But also, just one other small thing is just the fact that they're increasing the number of bounties again.
Right.
Which
16,
is-
is that right?
Well, I think they didn't mention the exact number on purpose, but the screenshot shows 16.
Right.
so.
Okay. That's yeah.
Well, just by taking quests out of them, they're almost freeing up
I know,
space
yeah.
just by that. Yeah.
But now you could literally take all the Crucible and all the Vanguard and still have 4 left over. So
Which is
Well-
good because Eris has some every day, and once
Petra.
a week Petra has some.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they add up.
They do.
You know,
And I actually find it annoying that I can't turn in bounties for both Petra and Eris in the same place. I
I
actually
know.
have to go to 2 different places.
I sort of want like an
Agreed.
Eris hologram in the reef, and I want a Petra hologram in the tower.
I
Very-
actually, because I'd read the Grimoire cards about it, I was like, they even had an excuse to move Eris to the reef because they have a
Oh
card
yeah,
where they talk about her talking to the queen.
Oh,
Right.
Oh yeah.
but she didn't move.
Nope.
There
And-
should be
and-
a pet thrall on the reef who sends messages back and forth between them.
has like a little like apron on.
I think a pet thrall would be
A
hard
hat.
to explain than a friendly fallen, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Pet Thrall would look just like Dobby the elf. That's
Yeah, there you go.
Is it like my pets from Halo 1, which were just Flood with no arms?
Oh yeah.
followed you around. Oh, that's right. I remember that. Shooting their arms off so that you could get a huge following.
Yeah.
I never did that.
It's pretty funny.
That
It's
sounds pretty good.
So, I don't understand why Varix doesn't have bounties for Prison of Elders. Like, I think that's like a perfect setup for.
Not only does he not have bounties for Prison of Elders, but regular bounties are not filled in the Prison of Elders.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that's something they could definitely add in because Prison of Elders is really starting to feel like my go-to activity.
Oh yeah, I love Prison Elders. I've played. I'm level 3 and I'm still not sick of it. So
I can't get to level 2. I'm trying really hard, but I can't get there. It's taken forever.
Got to do the 34s. Those are nice. They're easier than Skolas, but a nice XP dump.
So the group that I do those with, the last 2 or 3 weeks, we have quit on round 5 at
Oh,
least
jeez.
3 times. Just because, we're 4 hours in and somebody has to go to sleep, and we just give it up.
it actually
So-
made me a little sad when you said you couldn't beat the Chronovore, whatever his name is,
Oh, Quadron.
Codron, because I was like, oh man, I apparently didn't do a good enough job training him for that fight.
That fight is nasty. Although now that with the fix, it became a lot better.
Yeah.
The first time I did
Still
it though,
not great.
yeah, but the first couple of weeks were just nasty.
I'll tell you. I'm sorry, I'm like completely derailing our topic here. The big tip I would have for that is everybody should have a gun to kill the bubble.
Oh, absolutely. And when we do that, that totally works.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if somebody can't get Jailbreaker, it's not a big deal.
Right. So I run a shotgun, like an upgraded Found Verdict or something on that one, just for that purpose. But what that means is I no longer have a sniper for shooting anything long distance.
Right.
and I find that to be limiting.
We usually go one or two people. We make sure someone has a shotgun and the other one or two people has either a sniper or shotgun.
Well,
So that
I
it
will
just mix
say
it up.
the one thing that actually and we'll talk about the weapon balancing later, but that I thought of when they said the breaker balance was oh, it's not going to work for breaking shields anymore
Yep.
against in Quodron,
That
because that's
was
the main thing I'd use.
that was my thought too. And yeah, we'll get to that later, but I definitely thought, okay, I have a strategy reassessment to make.
Well, it just means I play less, which is unfortunate. That's not the solution. But
So let's see here. Since we've been talking about lore and the quests kind of, tie into this and help give us a first person perspective into the lore, General Vagueness was asking, what segments of the lore would you guys most like to see expanded?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, I'd like them to keep doing stories about famous guardians. I think that's my favorite thing in the lore. Like hearing about the original fire team that killed Crota, well, tried to kill Crota,
Yeah, the Eris's fire team.
Eris's fire team, and then like the Shin who had the last word after, oh man, I can't remember his name,
Jaren.
died. Yeah, after Jaren died. All of those are probably my favorite series of cards in the entire game.
Yeah, those are pretty good. And it definitely gives you it helps flesh out the environment and the world in which we're playing, and it I don't know, it makes it relatable, I guess, because there are other personalities in the world. It's not just facts of things that had happened. It's there are people and they were doing things, and
But they didn't. So I guess my problem with the lore is it's interesting when I first encounter it. It becomes less relevant as I finish things. So the whole Eris thing really bugged me. There's this story of these 6 super guardians who went down and were unsuccessful at killing Crota, and they all died except for one. And now we go through and kill Crota in 30 minutes. And I feel like that weakens the story that was being told to me when I first started it.
I definitely agree with you on Crota, because with Vault of Glass, we had Kaber, I don't know if that's how you say his name, who, with his original fire team who got erased from time, he made a way for us to beat Aethon,
right,
which was really cool.
That actually made sense.
And so I agree with Crota. I still don't quite understand. Like, it seems like actually like the Crota's already been killed, because we're kind of killing this non.
Yeah, it's not even quite Crota.
Yeah. So it's kind of strange.
Well, but it is Crota in the sense that, when you first go to Eris, she tells you this is really important, you have to do it. And once you kill him, you come back and she says, tell me what it was like to kill him.
Right.
So,
but it's 2 parts, right? So there's the mission from her where you go to the moon and they're trying to summon his soul from the stone thing, and you destroy the stone, the big shard. So that's like
Right.
that's
The
one
awakening.
part. Yeah. And then the second part is the raid, where that's like his semi-corporeal form, but he doesn't have legs, like they're like hologram legs. And it's all, it's like, so it's split into 2 parts, and one part you solo, or small fire team, and then the second part is, well, I guess you could also solo that, but
that's true.
is the raid
With the worst.
I'd like to interject there.
Oh, hey Mal, welcome.
Hey guys,
Wow.
sorry.
You snuck in.
Welcome.
So the thing I wanted to say at that point was, I was fully expecting to hear a lot more at some point about what Eris learned from hiding there in the dark and being transformed, and what she gave up, and what she gave up, or what she learned rather, in exchange for what she gave up, that kind of thing. And I don't think any of that was ever forthcoming.
And I agree.
With that.
Didn't they say in the Taken King previews that, didn't they mention something about like maybe some going back to seeing, or Eris being, they mentioned her in that, like they were going to keep the the cast of characters relevant or something like that. And I wonder if Eris will, I don't know, use some of her hive powers in the future. She has the seeing eye or whatever, the third eye.
I mean, if she was an NPC leading us into an area, or or even just doing the Dinglebot routine and feeding us more of that information as we go, so there was things that were relevant, so that the story was unfolding for us as she was relaying, and as we were, meeting resistance, toward the goal. Like, I think that would go very far, but it seems like there's a lot of stuff that would be sort of relatively easy to do just via audio that hasn't really been done.
And they actually are doing that a little bit, at least.
I hope so.
Yeah, the mission they showed at E3, which I wasn't there, but I read about it. Eris and Lance Reddick, which is not his name, yeah, guide you into that mission, and that's when you first hear about Crota. So they definitely are doing that more, which I'm excited about.
I mean, Oryx, when you first hear about Oryx.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I hear about Oryx.
I really thought, I know people in the forums talked about this before the Dark Below came out, or maybe when it first came out, but that we were going to be able to see or like find the skeletons of the fallen guardians in the raid or in the story or something. Like those were going to be meaningful little like touchstones in the game. Like you'd have to go get, I don't know, a fallen guardian's weapon or something like that helped you.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said this before, I forget if it was in a podcast or just like on the forum, but did the fire team die, or are they going to be... I want to fight against them. I want them to be bad guys. And...
No, they were taken, maybe?
Right, they were taken over, and now they've been sort of made to do the bidding of Oryx. Or when at the time I was hoping it would be Crota, and that part of the raid was that you had to fight against enemies that had the same... abilities that we as players had.
Well, and that would be especially interesting with someone like Dredge and Yor. Even though he wasn't a part of that fire team, he was obviously taken over by the darkness.
Right. Exactly.
So that would be interesting.
You could have like a ghost thorn or something like that, or I don't know how it would work.
And that should be like how you get Thorn or something like that. Like that's you unravel this story and then you meet the enemy at the end and take the weapon from them or something like that.
That'd be cool.
I would much prefer that over the current method because it's rather unceremonious. It's okay, I'm going to read this little bit of text about what I need to do for the quest. Go do that, and then you take it to the vendor and you turn things in, and eventually you'll get you get your prize, but you just get a little sound effect, and there's no... I'm not looking for a lot of pomp and circumstance, but something that feels a bit weightier than just ding.
If it's a exotic, it's a bigger sound.
Right. There's a little more bass.
Yeah.
Or you
But
just
he wants to be able to tell his legend, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yep.
That's what we were promised, and it really hasn't materialized yet.
Yeah, and one of the things I also have been wondering about, just as far as lore goes, is what happened on Earth? Like, what was the Cosmodrome? Why were all the cars driving into the Cosmodrome and then left there? And what sort of crazy thing happened that we were told that this stuff would be things that we'd unlock and find out about, and that would be part of the story going forward. And it's sort of right now it just makes for a pretty environment without any purpose.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I've thought about that. Like, who would stay in a car, even if your car got in a traffic jam and ran out of gas or whatever? Why would you stay in it long enough to die and have your skeleton still be sitting in the driver's seat?
Right. And to a certain point, everybody's guardian. We all come from that point. Right.
Yeah.
So, like, what happened?
Yeah.
Right.
No idea.
Well, I think there's a lot to be learned from the environment. That's like one of the things Bungie has always been amazing at, and why I've fallen in love with their art direction, is they tell stories just by how they design things. Like it's informed design, and you can slowly at least gather up some theories about what might have happened to the Cosmodrome. But that shouldn't be that should be a secondary story element, while there's like a main narrative going on that's really driving the story ahead, if that makes any sense. Like if you go back to Bungie's Halo, there was this main story happening that you cared about and it affected what you did, but there was a secondary story happening just from the art direction. Like you could look at the city and kind of learn things from it. And some games just don't have that. It's just there's just it. Oh, it looks cool, and that's as far as they go. So I think that's still present in Destiny. It's just because there isn't a main driving story so far, then it makes us look at that more and wonder why we don't know that. If that makes any sense.
Well,
Right.
and one thing that's interesting about that is it sounds like even the city and the tower don't know what happened from the way they've kind of hinted. So it's one thing that I was hoping we would unravel as part of the main story.
Mhm.
And I don't know, maybe,
And we still
end-
might. You know, we're
Right,
in year
exactly.
1 of 10 years, right?
that's what I was just about to say. Is it's like we might
I-
still see that, but it's weird that we didn't even really get much of a hint towards it.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
just kind
I
of-
hope I don't have to wait till year 10 to find out, why I was in my car when a Covenant supercarrier showed up and killed everybody.
it's
That would be
they,
an interesting crossover.
they set off the Halo rings. That's what happened. It's
Yeah.
alternate timeline.
Jesus.
Yeah,
It all
in
connects.
60 years they'll have to retcon everything into one timeline and merge Halo and Destiny and
And Marathon. Don't forget Marathon.
Yeah.
oh right, yeah.
Right, yeah.
And Myth
And
and
pathways.
yeah.
It's gonna be the BC
I think
of the Bungie combined universe.
yeah,
That's right.
and Microsoft at some point.
In Half-Life, we'll get in there somehow because,
What?
I don't know.
We're doing.
I know, but like in the future, who knows what companies are owned by who and
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just assuming Disney will own.
maybe
China
that's it.
will own all of them, basically.
all the stories into one.
What we're actually going to find out in Destiny 3 is that China survived all of this.
Right.
Yeah, China's just modern day China, just over there, and for some reason we just haven't just headed south or east or whatever.
Oh man. So let's see. Moving forward, we've got that was the weekly update from the week before, and the one that just landed 2 days ago was also sort of a big day. We had two. I'll just mention the two big pieces of news, and then we'll divide them up, I guess. But first, we have a new additional community manager. We got Cosmo joining the Bungie team. And there was a rather extensive write-up about the weapon updates, balance updates and changes that are coming in 2.0 with sort of just before the Taken King. So I don't know which one you want to talk about first. Let's talk about Cosmo.
Let's talk about Cosmo.
Prepare yourself for the Kramer memes.
I know. Well, Banana already did it, I think, on the forum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
See, I just constantly think Cosmo Canyon from Final Fantasy VII. So
I think Cosmo is a great choice, honestly.
I do too.
He's probably one of the best known names in the Destiny community without being a personality already, if that makes sense.
mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
That's one of the things that sold me on the choice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
you-
He cares more about the community he's curating than he does about his own ego or whatever. You hear more about what he does than who he is, which I think
Yeah.
is a powerful thing.
Yeah, not a lot of self-promotion.
And I'm curious to see what how the Bungie megaphone is going to change now with both Cosmo and Deej sort of being the front lines. And I don't know, the expanded ability to both plan and process, but also communicate at the same time. And so to see how that's changed, how that will change compared to the last year.
yeah, well, and it seems like Deej and Urk have been very, very busy.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
From everything we see, just from a lot of times, we don't hear from them for a while, kind of thing. And I know that's because they're busy. I know it's not because they're not thinking about us as a community, meaning the whole Destiny community. So just having a third person there that can kind of take that load off, I think it's going to be a pretty big change.
Yep. Agreed.
It'll be a good thing. And the other big news then was the weapon balance, weapon change.
Let the
That's
tears
slightly less
begin.
positive.
Yes. Yeah. Who wants to just start cursing at the mic first?
Well, I'll be honest. I actually, after I slept on the changes, I honestly had to say these are actually all good changes.
No, they're not.
As much as
They're nerfing my last word, and
Here we go.
I used to accept that.
as much as I don't think that, for example, I actually agree with Claude. I don't think the last word even needed to be nerfed, but there was a perception in the community that it did. And the truth is, in this kind of game, if they think that, it's probably even if it's not actually true, it's true enough that they need to do something. So,
Can we all agree that the weapons that we all use should be the ones that are not nerfed, and the weapons that kill us constantly should be the ones that are nerfed?
Oh, absolutely.
right, exactly.
I
I
think
will
we can
agree
all
with that
agree
if those weapons are the same for you as they are for me. Otherwise, I won't.
Right, exactly. That's where the problem comes in.
So for the last word, right? We'll just start there.
It's a beautiful gun.
Yeah,
Nothing
yes.
should ever change about it, and if anything, it should get more powerful.
So
Exactly.
it has. So it sounds to me like the change they're trying to make is to improve the hip fire aspect of it.
Right.
Right, which is actually what it was supposed to be good at.
Right, and I feel like it's not great. Like it's pretty good. It's not great. I will say I am not a proficient last word user. I tried it. I pulled it out again the other day and tried, and I just got flattened.
That's what happens when I use Thorn. So
Yeah,
Well,
that's my experience as well.
But I'll say this, that I am disappointed by the nerfings for me personally, because to me, despite what people say, it was okay at long range. And so knowing you could beat somebody at close range, but having the ability, if you absolutely needed it, to shoot somebody at long range, I loved.
Well, that's not entirely gone though, right? It's there's a damage fall off,
Right.
and it's going to lose accuracy at range.
Right.
But you
And
could
stability.
still theoretically, like if you got to get that one last shot off.
but it's never that one last shot. That's the thing. So right
That's
now,
it.
you can take somebody out with last word at long range with 3 or 4 carefully placed shots.
Okay.
And if that increases to 5 or 6, you no longer have
changes
that
everything.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changes everything.
I think, though, that really strikes at the nature of the gameplay that they want folks to be doing with the weapon. And I think in the same thing is true with the changes to Thorn. That they're looking at the way that they really want it to behave and the kind of the spirit of play that you have to employ to make it really effective. And Thorn perhaps, but the last word was never really meant to be a long range weapon. And
Right.
No, you're right. It's not.
Yeah, like if
And-
that's sort of the contract you're making, right? I'm
Right,
going to pick
right.
last word, and I'm going to close in close, and I'm going to just wreck people.
yes,
And
yes,
and that is why I said
From the hip.
personally, because
And
it's-
so I had no problem with that until they reduced special ammo to the point where I am often without any. Not sometimes, but often. So before that nerf, I would run last word and sniper, and when I needed to shoot long range, I had a sniper, and when I needed to shoot short or medium range, I had last word, and I was happy. Now, the only thing I can guarantee that I have ammo in is my primary weapon, and if last word is non-functional past mid-range, I'm sort of screwed
right.
if I'm trying to cross an open space.
even if you're stacking up with special weapon enhancing gear, like for your ammo capacity.
That does help.
It helps a little bit, but I don't always get special ammo. So the way it lands now, if If somebody pulls special ammo and then you die before you pick it up, it's gone.
Right.
Even if you were close enough for it to be sitting on the ground, it disappears. And that happens to me regularly.
I think that should be changed so that you can get... If you die once, you can always run back and grab it. If you die a second time, okay, well then at that point, you weren't on the ball enough to go pick it up. But I think that they should allow you one
I would
death.
be good with that change.
That sounds like,
I would
that's
love that
interesting.
change.
And I've been one that's I seriously grab all the special ammo I can now. Like it's actually my secondary objective to killing people in the Crucible is get special
Picking up
ammo.
specials.
Yep.
But what I find often is that when special ammo is 2 or 3 seconds from falling, I'm in a battle with somebody.
Yeah.
And if I lose that battle, somebody pulls that special ammo just before I die.
Or
That happens to me in every single game.
To the
I've even
victory
had-
or the spoils.
I've even had the guy that I'm fighting stop fighting, turn around, and pick up special.
Like
Because it was-
sacrifice the...
Yes, because it was more important to them to have that shotgun ammo
Like a
than
trade.
to
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And
Now that I'm on the one and can actually switch weapons in game, I'm constantly I'll switch from a sniper to a shotgun or something, and then run up to somebody and realize I have 0 ammo.
Yeah.
I
Damn
just
it.
I just did that. I just did that on Rusted Lands a couple of nights ago, and it made me insane.
If you do it
I was
while
like,
you're
"Why isn't he dying?" Oh, because I have no ammo.
if you do it while you're dead, you keep some ammo.
What?
Just so you know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Well, now I know.
Meanwhile, in PvE, if you generate ammo while you're dead, it's gone when you respawn.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's very inconsistent.
Yeah, I think the nature of that mechanism needs a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah, I was super
For sure.
confused because we were I was playing Trials yesterday, and I had a shotgun equipped because the team we had just been playing against, like I needed to have that close range. And then we hopped into another game, and the other team was playing a long game. And so I thought, okay, I need my sniper. And but I'm going to have to go pick up some ammo. Like I got to make a plan for this. And so we went around, and while we're in between rounds, I swap over, pull out my sniper rifle, and we spawn in, and I have like 7 shots available.
What?
Yeah. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because we won the round if you get special or what. But yeah, it was definitely like it was unexpected. And I made a comment to my fire team that I was like, "Oh, I don't have to go get ammo. I've got some." But yeah, the whole mechanic is definitely a little obtuse.
Inconsistent.
Inconsistent.
Obtuse is a good word, yeah.
Can we talk about fusion rifles?
Please.
So I am of the. I thought the other night. I don't recall if I was playing with any of you guys, but I was thinking about the quote from the recent interview where Luke Smith said, "What does it say about me if I'm carrying 2 shotguns?" And I was thinking to myself, I said, well, what does it say about me if I'm carrying 2 fusion rifles? Because I was running around with the Mythoclast and my trolley problem, which is very, very near and dear to me. And I was thinking about the changes that they're going to make to fusion rifles, and I think that my my salad days of using the fusion rifles are coming to an end because I am not great at leading targets and slowing down the projectiles and adding additional challenge there to the way that the weapon actually kills. I'm concerned about how it's going to go, but I don't think anybody's going to be able to tell exactly unless they've actually got their hands on it. But I also wondered about whether or not that's going to change the nature of how the Mythoclast itself performs in addition to that.
I don't think it is, because the last time it did, it was a bug. So the last time they affected fusion rifles, and the Mythoclast was also affected, it was a bug.
Right. It's not
So-
intended to...
yes.
I don't think that these changes are going to affect it at all.
Yeah, I wonder with a 2.0 update if they're going to be able to... At this point, they're able to sever the Mythoclast from the fusion rifle archetype.
Because they're talking about the actual speed of fusion rifle projectiles,
Right.
not just like, this particular weapon. My understanding was that it was that type of projectile as a whole would be slowed down a little bit.
But Mythoclast is already that way a little bit, right?
No, you don't have to lead at all.
That's what I mean. Like Vex already has like a what do you call it? Like a ray trace
Hit scan.
hit scan shot. Whereas the actual fusion rifles, the secondaries, those you can watch those projectiles fly across the screen.
Right. So yeah, that's another reason I don't think it's going to be affected, is because
It's already
pretty much, as somebody I was talking to called it, it's already infinite with the Mythoclast, because it's instant pretty much. So
right.
But I will say, I've read this fusion rifle nerf, not nerf, but balance, a bunch of times, because they keep wording it like it's not a nerf, like it's a buff.
Yeah.
And so I think actually what they're saying is all it's going to do is it's going to kind of moderate the range of fusion rifles to be more mid. And then on top of that, if you think about it, if the projectile speed is slower, that might actually help the high impact fusion rifles, because high impact fusion rifles can kill with only hitting like 1 or 2 or 3 projectiles. So if they do that and you slow down the projectile, you can actually spray it over a wider range.
I know I'm speaking from a very biased position, because in some nights I will use the Trolley Problem exclusively. I mean, I will pack Last Word and Trolley Problem, and I won't touch the Last Word, and I'll just run around until I run out of special. And I can get it's startling the efficiency startling to me the efficiency which I've been able to really get kills with that. And I think a lot of it is due to the nature of you are outranging folks with the shotgun most of the time. You're not engaging at the long range, so you don't have to worry about snipers as long as you're taking cover. And I think that's a pretty good sweet spot for the fusion rifle in general to function. And maybe I'm, over focusing on one specific weapon. I mean, I've got a plug one that does the same kind of thing. I've got a Parent's Fire that does the same kind of thing. What's the other one I'm thinking of? The exotic, not the
Plan C.
What's it called? Plan C. Thank you. The Plan C functions very much in the same way, but the way that the balance read, it was like they're expecting folks to be using it at even closer ranges. But when shotguns dominate so much of the time at close range, it doesn't seem to me like there's going to be a lot of people that are drawn towards fusion rifles when Fellwinters is going to clean up as hugely as it does.
Remember, though, those are getting nerfed too, though.
Right. I feel like fusion rifles are. So right now, there's a certain distance where nothing but Fellwinters and Party Crasher and Matador.
And there's a third one too.
Yeah, where those three, there's a certain distance where those rule, and that's being pulled back and closed in. But I feel like the fusion rifles are going to take that space, or have potential to.
I wouldn't mind,
because like I could totally see that setup where someone's charging in and I got Plan C, and I know they're closing in that distance, and I see them there, and it gives me just enough time I can switch over and pop Plan C with its the accelerated coils, and just sort of cover that close range, but not so close that shotguns are going to dominate. I don't know.
Right. I should probably try one of these fusion rifles one of these days.
They're great.
Yeah, my Guardian doesn't even know which way you point towards the enemy, so...
I was just looking at my Crucible stats, and my all-time kills with a fusion rifle in the Crucible is 1.
Wow. That's impressive.
I bet mine is 0.
Well, because of the shotgun dynamic right now, unfortunately, my fusion rifle percentage dropped significantly.
Yeah, I stopped using it. I used to use it every now and then, and
it used to be my main secondary in Crucible.
Yeah, but I've totally stopped.
Yeah, I think even back in the beta, my Guardian decided that the hand cannon, or basically it was just a sniper rifle that looked like a hand cannon, and now each weapon tuning update is just slowly taking that distance and power away from it, so we're kind of screwed.
I'm definitely...
I will say... Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
The hand cannon changes are pretty interesting to me.
That's where I was going anyway.
Yeah. Because it doesn't bother me too much, because I agree that I never have a reason to use a scout rifle, because hand cannons do such a good job there. But the interesting thing is, with the reduced magazine size, I know quite a few people that have guns with 6 or 7 shots in their magazine. and then they have Luck in the Chamber and Final Round.
Oh, wow.
So if they reduce the magazine size,
You're going to get that even more often.
you're basically going to have a gun where 50% of the time you're two-shotting people, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's true. But I also, from a purely aesthetic standpoint, hand cannons are just cooler than all of the others.
Agreed.
And so
Agreed.
I get upset when they. I just want to just use hand cannons, basically.
You and me both.
Yep. My Fulcrum is my best friend.
That thing's pretty awesome. I picked one up. I didn't even re-roll it. It seemed pretty solid off the bat. I'm still leveling it, but I enjoy it.
I think if you re-roll a gun, you should be able to name it. I think that'd be pretty cool to be able to name your own weapons in Destiny.
Oh, I'm sure that's coming.
We all know what everything would be called, though.
That is true, but who cares?
Mine would
It
be
doesn't
called
have to show to anyone else.
mine
Yeah,
would be called a HCE pistol.
Oh, yeah. And then it gets imbued with CE magic, and you just kill
Yeah.
everyone across from Blood Gulch.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm excited about the scout rifle changes. I feel like they've been hitting a little soft, especially like Vision of Confluence. I went back to
Agreed.
it, and I was trying to use it in Prison of Elders, and I was just getting frustrated by how much it was not killing things.
Yeah.
So a little bump here and there is probably going to be nice for them.
Well, and just with that 5% boost, I think that'll make the difference between one-shotting and not one-shotting enemies.
Oh, so frequently. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'll have a Vandal, and I'll hit him, and he'll just have like a sliver left.
Yeah.
It's like, just go away.
I also find it interesting that every weapon class, or sorry, just pulse rifles and scout rifles are both getting magazine size increases.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I don't use scout rifles that have fewer than, I think, 19 shots.
Same here.
You know, I use Fang, I use Vision of Confluence, I use Mida, and I think my Gillian's Demise has at least 16, I think. And, you know, it's plenty. It's enough for me to do
Magillion's has 16.
generally whatever I need to do. But there are definitely some scout rifles that have too little.
Yep.
Yeah. And pulse rifles have always needed it. That's one of the reasons I don't use them. Apart from bad juju, they like just constantly reloading, especially against
and-
anything that's heavier than a small target.
And slow reloads on top of that.
Yeah. The sniper rifle changes. I don't know. It sounded like, I don't know. I read it and then I read it again and it seemed a lot less dramatic. I'm not sure how much of a difference I'll notice, except for Icebreaker.
Oh, you mean with the final round change?
No, just because they're pushing? Weren't they doing something with the range on them, or am I mixing that up?
Nope. Just
I don't
final
recall a
round
range
is
mod.
Okay.
the only actual change, which is perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, what about the Black Hammer mod? I wasn't super pleased with that one.
Well, so they're giving you 3 shots, 3 extra rounds, because it holds 15 right now, right? There's like 13 in in reserve, and then 3 in the chamber.
12.
Or sorry, 12. Yeah, 12 in reserve, 3 in the chamber, and then
I am a little bit upset about it, just from a game. Like, it was such a fun gun to use, but it's totally 100% understandable.
yeah.
Yeah,
because-
no, can't disagree there.
Yeah.
So 18. I mean, you get 18 shots, and if you aren't missing, that's 18 pretty quick consecutive crits, and that's an already very high damage weapon.
and very stable
Yeah.
on top.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for most use cases, if anything, I'll use it more, right? Because right now I only use it against bosses or things that will proc that reload.
Right.
And I feel like with this change, because I don't have that incentive to just make the unlimited ammo rain down from nowhere, I don't know. I think I'll be more likely to take it out and use it in normal combat areas. Because I don't know. Like I'll go through the ammo anyway, and if I get to a point where I'm at a boss fight and I need ammo, I'm just gonna pop a special ammo set.
Yeah.
But with a 3-round clip, you can't miss any of those crits.
No.
Right.
But that's sort of how it's always been.
And I wouldn't have minded that as if the balance change would have been it has 4 shots and this. Then I think I would have been a lot happier with it.
Beorn, you're right when you say that that's how it's always been, but the trade-off has been, so you use it on bosses because that, that risk of missing the shot is small enough that the bonus that you get for hitting those crits is worth it. I wouldn't use it on a regular. I'd find it. My Aphrodite spear has 6 shots or whatever. I would use that on a regular enemy first, just because I don't have to worry about missing a shot.
But for me, Aphrodite spear is pretty. Is that a pretty high impact one? I don't actually have any.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's just as high impact.
Okay.
As the black hand.
So, except for the spear, that high impact is great. Like against hive wizards is awesome because you got the solar to take out the shield, and then you get another like shot or 2. So I guess depends on the encounter, but you can take out a wizard in 1 or 2 shots.
Right, and I think like I partially said, I think Black Hammer needed a nerf for sure because it's literally like the only choice against bosses, if you ask me.
Right.
But it needed something to balance it out because, like people said, it's taken away what makes it unique. But I'm just not sure what they do.
Well, it's also though like it's not like it was put in with the exotic weapon tuning section, but it's not an exotic weapon. So I feel I don't know. It's not such a big loss to me because it's a legendary.
It's not a loss to me at all because I don't have one.
I'm curious to see what happens with it if its use just drops to 0 because of the change, or if people will keep it around and use it as a regular sniper rifle. But I do wish it would hold more ammo. Like my like Praetor's Revenge, I think I have 24 shots in it.
Yeah.
Which is great, but it doesn't hit very hard, so I never use it for PvE. That's like my PvP weapon.
Even for PvP, it's more useful if you're good at headshots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it takes 2, sometimes 3 body shots depending on what you're playing and how damaged the people are to begin with. I kind of like strong impact snipers because I can get the body shots much more easily than the headshots.
Right. But there's something about the firefly effect, It's just so satisfying. I think I've gotten 1 double kill off of the firefly.
So I think we should talk about Thorn.
We should talk about Thorn. Good riddance.
Wow.
The change is so perfect. So perfect.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I think it's really nice that they found a way to make it as useful or more useful in PvE while nerfing it in PvP.
Yeah.
Yep. The damage, the poison stack thing, I always thought it was funny that it didn't stack. Consecutive shots didn't make the bleed damage like increase. So now you're rewarded for landing multiple shots because you get extra damage against your enemy.
And I think the thing I really like about it is it definitely reduces its lethality in PvP, but it's still going to be super useful in PvP.
Yeah, and if you play from the right range, the big problem for me with Thorn is that you could snipe with it, which is just silly. I'd get cross mapped with it, and it's just frustrating.
So even the nerfed DOT is going to be it still keeps your shields from recharging, correct?
Right.
So that's actually for an awful lot of its effectiveness in PvP is that blocking of the shield recharging. So decreasing the damage is I wouldn't say minor, but I think the fact that you can still stop people's shields from recharging means people are going to continue to use it.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
But I think people will, because I think a big problem with Thorn was everybody would use it and they wouldn't use any other exotics. You never really saw an exotic special or an exotic heavy. Well, you saw exotic heavies all the time, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Right. Not on 360 you didn't.
Right.
Because switching is not a possibility.
But I didn't see
But
a lot
yes,
of people
on other platforms.
using Invective or Icebreaker or Plan C. And I think we'll see an increase in that just because it's not that guaranteed 2-headshot kill anymore.
Well, and what's cool about Thorn, what I like about it is if you're playing from the right distance and you're doing a short to medium range encounter, the bleed damage is reduced, but they're not touching, or at least it doesn't look like, they're not really touching the initial impact damage, which Thorn has a really high impact, and that's sort of that's what makes some of it so effective. Like the bleed is extra, is sort of bonus, but if you're able to team shot, so if you're in PvP and you have a team that's coordinating, that bleed damage is going to prevent, like you said, the shield from coming back, and either you can pick up the next shot or your buddy around the corner can do it. But I don't know. I don't feel like it's going to be a lot less effective, but where it was a problem and where it was excelling where it should not have, I think that's going to go away, and that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think in general it's a good change.
This is coming from someone who, when I'm playing Trials, I use Thorn because everybody else is using Thorn, but I'd much rather be using my Mida. Like that's like.
And now you can.
And now I can, and I do anyway. And sometimes I wreck with Mida, and sometimes I just get crushed.
And I would rather use my Fulcrum. Like, no, hands down, I'd rather use my Fulcrum.
And now that might be totally viable. So it'll be. I'm curious to see how it actually plays out, and how much of it is just going to be sort of not muscle memory, but people just sticking with Thorn because they stick with Thorn. Like it's become a habit.
So should we talk about what are probably the most controversial changes?
I thought it was Black Hammer. That we already did.
Gjallarhorn?
I'd say Icebreaker and Gjallarhorn are probably the most controversial.
Well, I'll say with Icebreaker, when you have 0 ammo and you're waiting for that to recharge, it already feels like 45 seconds or something.
Yeah.
And so I don't think adding a couple, you're still going to be sitting there going, "Oh my God, recharge!"
That 3-second difference is huge.
But it's already. I just think it's already like you're already frustrated by it. I feel. I mean, I am. So I might as well be waiting longer.
Right. I was surprised that they extended it as far as they did. Like 5 seconds to 6 seconds would still net you. That would still be a 6-second increase in the total recharge time.
I think the only place it's going to be really frustrating, aside from Quojon, which we already talked about, is in Nightfalls. I think that's the only place it's really going to feel frustrating.
Well, I mean, possibly raid material, depending on what's coming.
Yeah, VOG oracles.
You don't need an icebreaker.
In the Templar section, you do if you're cheesing it from up on top.
Well.
I've done it without an icebreaker plenty of times. So you don't need an icebreaker.
Oh, I know you can do it without, but it's
Icebreaker is great in there because so I would always play it when we were actually doing it, not doing the sniping. But when you're going through oracles, I would always watch those hobgoblins up on the pillars on the side, and the region was just at the point where I'd have to watch my shots. I'd clear out the enemy. It would be 5. Probably at a time, and then go back to clearing the stuff on the ground and watching the oracles, and then by the time Icebreaker was charged back up, sort of just in time, those hobgoblins would be coming back.
Yeah,
and that cadence is going to get thrown off.
Shoot them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, to me, it already was like a game-wide, what you're doing isn't working, switch to Icebreaker. And I don't think there should probably be a gun like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's amazing on one hand, but on the other hand, yeah.
I think, though, that it's still going to be effective.
It's going to be frustrating to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like most of these changes that we've seen, most of them are just we're not even going to really think about it after enough time.
Well, studies show that the older you get, the faster time passes. So Claude probably won't even be able to tell a difference.
So does anybody, just to bring up probably the most controversial change, does anybody care or think that it's a big deal that Gjallarhorn's getting nerfed in a negative way?
I
am unhappy about
since
that.
Before I got my Gjallarhorn, I was hoping and I said this to my friends many times because it took me a really long time to get one. I was hoping to get my Gjallarhorn before they nerfed it.
Yeah.
And that was always my party line.
You knew they were going to.
It's inevitable. It's so stupidly overpowered. It's fun. It makes me giggle every now and then when things just evaporate.
It is fun, and I understand the concept that that looking for group matchups are actually, driving this change in the sense that people are being excluded from social activities because they don't have one. So I get why they're doing it, but I'm still annoyed.
I'm not sure I bought that though all the way.
I do.
Really?
I absolutely buy it. Have you looked on LFG
I have
lately?
not been. I've not been on LVG since I think probably February, March.
It's pretty bad.
Okay.
It's level 34 with Galahorn required.
Interesting. Okay.
So you could totally solve that problem by making level 34 matchmaking.
Yeah. But yeah,
Which they'll never do.
it really doesn't upset me even a little bit. I actually agree with you, Beorn. I thought that it was always going to get nerfed. But on the other hand, I was like, well, maybe they won't because it's not that big of a deal since it's mostly a PvE weapon. But seeing their reasoning, I'm like, yeah, that is a really good reason to nerf it.
And they don't say
Because
by
It
how
is a
much,
good reason.
Right.
right? I mean, 1%.
And it is only
10%.
the Wolfpack rounds, not the whole thing. But the Wolfpack rounds are what make it overpowered.
Right. That
Right.
initial blast.
Otherwise,
is
is
the truth.
the same as other strong. Well, not even. Yeah, maybe truth. I mean, Ashvac becomes close actually for that first shot.
If you want to talk about what would be, I think, the best way to balance it, even though it'd make people really upset, is it should probably do less damage than if Dragon's Breath hit its solar flare for the entire amount of time. That would probably be the best way to balance it. But I don't think that's going to happen. I still think it's probably going to be the most powerful rocket launcher in the game.
I've never fired my Dragon's Breath, so I don't know.
I've never fired it. Wow.
It's just sitting in the vault. I just hadn't bothered.
I
Yeah,
used it for a while when I first got it because I didn't have anything stronger.
You haven't seen the cool flames come out. It's awesome.
Does it really?
Yeah. Flames come
Yeah.
out of the little tubes on the side.
Yeah, I use it just for aesthetic purposes.
Okay, I'll have to go check it out. Yeah, no, I honestly, I've never. I picked it up. It was a drop. Zero was selling it, and I just refused. I don't know why. I was probably short on coins or something, and I just never picked it up. And then I finally got it in like a nightfall. I was like, oh, cool. I'll hold on to this.
So, can we get to the really important questions?
Such as,
Yeah.
Well, Up North and Speed Racer both have really important questions.
They do.
Up North
read-
wants to know wants to ask Woo about his terrible fashion, and Speed Racer wants to know about Xenos' terrible fashion. I don't know why.
I know.
This is a
a
popular
bunch of
topic.
fashionistas.
So Up North's question is about my in-game fashion, and I'm pretty sure Speed Racer's question is about Xenos' out-of-game fashion.
No,
not
it's
true?
about in-game fashion. It's about in-game.
Oh, as well? Okay.
Yeah.
We all have the same out-of-game fashion.
Yeah.
We're all wearing Destiny t-shirts right now, aren't we?
We are.
We're wearing clothes.
I am
touche.
pantsless.
I will say Speed Racer and I have completely opposite tastes in game. I, for example, think FWC's colors are awesome. And
Wait, you said awful, right?
no, I said awesome.
Awful? I'm just
You're
hearing
not,
awful.
you're not a warlock.
His brain's overwriting whatever you're saying.
And he thinks they're terrible. So that's pretty much the. And I've actually explained it to him. I love FWC because it feels like old sci-fi,
It does.
and that's what I grew up on. So to me,
Really?
it's like
That's why you stick with it.
it's like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I feel like a hero from those old cheesy sci-fi movies.
Oh, I think of like I'm
So-
on a soccer team or something.
A futuristic
So,
space
North
soccer
is-
team.
North is mad at me because I was wearing the Shroud of Flies for a long time because it's
Ooh.
Why?
yeah, it's because it made me look like a fly.
Ooh.
No.
So he
That's-
didn't like that, so I switched to something else, and he said,
The Eris hat?
"No, that's really ugly. I would never wear that, except when I need her experience." No, it was. I don't remember what cape it was, but it was something that had a butt flap in it, and he just thought that was really terrible. He thought you should not wear something
There's a
that-
cape with a
that
butt-
you can
butt
take a
flap?
crap through. Yes,
I did not know that.
yes, there is. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know what it was. I only put it on because he didn't like the Shroud of Flies.
I have to buy that just because that's funny.
It'll be a thing in like 3 years.
It's the Ghost Angel cloak. And if you look at it online, it's totally solid. But if you look at it in-game, it's got a hole right where it needs to be.
Okay.
Wait a minute. That's the cloak I wear all the time.
Utility.
Yeah, Claude, you did mention earlier that the main things you wanted in Destiny was like a place to sleep and poop. So that kind of covers that.
I think that part of the conversation should not have been brought up in the live podcast.
But I think it's...
Oh, was that before we started? I'm sorry.
I still think I was recording, though.
Oh, that can be a deleted scene or something.
Beorn's not cutting it.
No, he's probably not. Oh, my. Yes, so I do have terrible taste in wardrobe. I will agree with that.
I have fantastic taste. If you go look at my Guardian right now, he's the best looking Guardian in the whole game.
I like that there was a conversation earlier about what sort of perks can you get on Prison of Elders gear, and Dread Pirate Wes was like, well, I just equipped everything for you. I have a rainbow selection for you to choose from on this character. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was kind of neat.
Nice mix match.
Xenos, your Titan is the ugliest thing I have ever seen.
Don't look at my Titan. Look at my Hunter.
Oh my god. All right, your Hunter, wow. Well, your color choices are awful, but the armor's kind of cool.
Well, it looks a lot better in-game than on the website.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Because it's gold in the game, and in this it's like...
Mustard, flat yellow.
Mustard yellow, yeah, exactly. That's funny.
I was going to say that... No, go ahead.
No, I was just... In general, the website implementation of how your Guardian looks is somewhat disappointing.
WebGL, woohoo!
They did improve the way the weapons look, like updates ago. I was kind of surprised by, but yeah, the weapon or the Guardians still look terrible.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Levi, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that I was like before I typed in Xenos, I was gonna, I was 100% sure my Hunter was gonna be way cooler than his, and then it turned out that we have like half of the same gear on. So,
so you would agree that he has great taste in gear?
Besides the FWC thing, I can get behind everything else. And I am not a fan of the cape. We should start a whole segment that's just like a fashion runway critique.
Oh, that's probably my favorite cloak in the whole game. Mostly just because of the feathers around the...
I do like the feathers a lot, and when you wear it in like our social space, it's really cool just having that, having your helmet off and the hood down, which I think is pretty cool. But
what I dislike about that cape is when I look at it in my inventory, it shows it to be white.
Yeah.
And then when I put it on, it's red. What's with that?
I agree.
I want a white cape, damn it.
But we really are going to have a fashion section here, aren't we?
Not today.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, not this episode, but future episodes.
We need like an audio opening for that fashion segment we just had.
We'll get a hold of Master Biggie.
Yeah.
Get something.
You're just gonna be able to. I think you're about to pop that feather collar though. There's something about
Freb juice.
Yeah, exactly.
While you guys discuss like all the perks and stats of a gun, I can just say the color's not very pretty.
There you go.
It's probably why I'm terrible in this game, is that I actually am making decisions based on those things. So.
Oh, I do it too.
Perks, who cares?
I am guilty of that.
I won't wear my Crota chest piece for my Warlock is a great piece of gear. It has great rolls, good stats, but I just refuse to wear it because
most of the Crota stuff looks bad.
Yeah, but especially the big collar and no.
The only piece of Crota gear I really like for the Hunter is the legs, and the helmet looks okay. Everything else is terrible, just terrible.
You don't like the big skull on your hip,
the shoulder piece that like sticks out.
Yeah,
like
well, that's better than that's better than like the spikes on the elbow.
Yeah, I don't know actually, because you don't see the spikes as much.
Those two little like claw things, is that what you're talking about?
He's talking about the spikes from the Prison of Elders arms.
Everything's spiky.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, the Warlock.
I thought we were talking
The
Crota.
Warlock Bond even has like big old like 9-inch nails sticking out of your arm.
Yeah, that's
Now
just-
the Celestial Nighthawk is like might be the coolest helmet in the game.
That thing's kind of awesome.
Read. And your eyes glow when you aim down sights.
What? Oh, that's
I did
cool.
not know that.
I remember seeing that in the
Is it
preview
visible
trailer.
from a distance?
I don't know.
Is
I
it
don't
visible?
think so.
Is it visible from a distance like snipers are?
I don't think so. I've never. It doesn't glint for sure.
Okay. I'd love to see that.
It's a nice touch, though.
So Cody Miller wants us to ask a riddle.
I had no idea what
Destiny
he was talking
riddle
about.
battle beat. So if we had, we probably won't do it this time since we don't have any riddles, or I don't. But
Claude,
if we
what
end a
have you
podcast
got?
with a riddle
Pocket.
in my pocket. Oh my god. But we could give things away
Yeah.
if somebody gets it before the next podcast.
Oh,
I've actually got a strange coin I'd be willing to give away.
a physical strange coin?
Oh, from the
A physical one.
already? I thought they were
No,
coming
this
out
is-
of House of Wolves.
This was one
I mean,
was from
not in.
this one's from Etsy, but it's still pretty cool.
Oh wow, I'll have to go.
But we
look
don't
at
have
that.
any riddles.
Oh, we won't do it this week, like Claude said. But
How
we'll
about
do it.
we do a reverse riddle? We'll give them an answer, and then whoever comes up with the best riddle wins.
I like that.
Do you have an answer?
No, that sounds like a terrible idea.
I think the answer should be Claude's beard.
Beard?
Yeah, Claude's beard.
That's what Claude has in his pocket?
Mel wins.
Thank you. I'll be here all night.
Oh my goodness.
I don't think we should be eligible for the riddles, probably.
No, probably,
Probably not.
We can just keep sending each other cool stuff,
This
I guess.
week, Levi wins. Again.
Again.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the way it should happen.
So
Okay, so next time.
next time we'll have something. We'll
Oh, before
Next time we'll
Before we
figure.
close.
Yeah, we'll be prepared.
Yeah.
I will say one thing from the Bungie Weekly update that made me more excited than anything else that we didn't talk about was they said that the Taken King is going to have more weapons and armor than Destiny has ever seen, including the original launch of the game.
this means new, right? Like, because
Right.
obviously you just add one gun and it's gonna have more than.
If they mean that, I'm going to personally send Deej some hate mail.
Yeah, they could say that for every expansion. I mean, they could just keep reusing that.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of stuff.
And next week's Weapon Foundries information, I am drooling over. So
Yeah, that's gonna be cool because we've seen a few previews in the videos, but
So in that vein, can I say that I'm disappointed by the drops you get in PvP from House of Wolves, because they have massively increased the drops, which I think is a good thing, but it's all the same 4 guns,
yeah.
and
I've-
it just seems why. I
It
just don't-
seems to me like more of a baselining effort, and that may be nowhere near what they're intending for it, but that's the feeling that I get. That okay, so everybody's got spare change, and everybody's got I can't think of the other ones at the moment, but that's the one I see all the time. Oh, everybody's got Split Shifter Pro.
I have
Yep.
neither of those.
Pretty solid.
and
fusion
the
rifle.
NL Shadow 701X.
And
Yes,
Party
yes.
and Party
I get that
Crasher.
drop every day, and
Yeah.
Ill Will
And Matador.
and Matador. All right, so there's more than 4. Okay,
But
but it really is
You get them all
a
the
very
time.
small number.
That's the same.
And you
Right.
get them all the
right, it's like the latest lineup, and the way that it seems to me very often is that I feel like there's got to be somebody on their side going, okay, well now everybody will at least have access to this much agency within these weapons, and so that's kind of the expected range of play, because we're just showering people with these weapons. At some point, they're going to use them, and that is roughly how things are going to shake out. Because I know there's lots of there's just scores of weapons that I saw appear a couple of times and never again since the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Well, and I think at least like with the shotguns, to me, I'm pretty sure the reason they have Party Crasher and Matador 64 with the perks available that are was so that people that missed out on Fellwinter's
Absolutely.
Lie
Yep.
could have something to compete.
Yes, that was my feeling as well.
Yeah, if you have, it was sort of a quick fix, right? Like if you have a problem, flood the market with the problem, and it becomes a different problem.
baseline.
No
Yeah.
problem. A different problem. Yes.
I don't know if it was less annoying or not, but when I got my Party Crasher or not for myself, I wasn't nearly as annoyed. So
I tried to use Party Crasher the other night, and I missed the first shot, which I'm
And
told
then you die.
is my problem. I shouldn't have done that. And then you
Yeah.
die because
Yep.
in the time it takes to reload, they can empty pretty much any other gun on you.
Astral Horizon has the same problem.
So-
I prefer invective.
what gun you will love, Claude? Lord of Wolves.
Yes. I have been looking forward to getting that, but so far I have not had an Elder Cipher drop. So we'll see. One day.
Lord of Wolves fits my playstyle so perfectly because I just jump over somebody's head and Lord of Wolf them below me. It's hilarious.
You don't know how we what?
I was just gonna say I don't know how you guys remember all these names. My brain's just like, oh, I need to equip the red one.
Because that's how you think.
I guess.
So did they confirm that we're gonna get class items that change gameplay? I mean, just in the sense of stat booster or whatnot. They'll have a tangible effect on gameplay.
They did.
We did actually see. They haven't confirmed it in words, but they showed us screenshots of items that actually have that have stats.
Yep.
Class
They
items that have
actually
stats.
did confirm it in
Oh,
words.
did they?
Yeah, it was in that post where they talked about the fact that you could buy the legendary items separately, or the digital collector items separately.
Oh, okay.
And what they said is these class items that give you buffs and these dance moves are not the only ones that will be
Right.
in the Taken King.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. They made a point, and that made me feel a lot better because I did not like the idea of those class items being the only ones.
Right.
But if
So when the level that they showed off at E3, the campaign level, you actually had class items that had discipline on them, which I thought was kind of cool.
I forgot to check that.
And those were not anything special. They were just whatever was the base class item for Taken King.
Yeah.
So I think pretty much everything is going to have that.
Oh, they were even more direct than I thought. In the Taken King, we'll be introducing new class items with stat attributes.
There you go.
That's
Good.
pretty much case closed.
Case closed.
It would be neat to have some perhaps exotic items that have weird effects on your gameplay.
Grunt birthday party.
Sure.
Weren't the ones that are coming in the collector's edition? Didn't they say they were exotic?
They are, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, there we go.
Sorry, I'm like a wealth of useless information.
No, actually, I've wondered how that's going to work because if I have a opportunity to equip anything as an exotic, but only one, it's not going to be my class item.
Right.
Depends on the perk, I think.
Right, I guess. And maybe it's got something awesome. It gives you 2 Nova Bombs.
Well, I think it would be awesome actually if there were legendary ones that gave you stat bonuses, but there were exotic ones that gave you crazy bonuses.
Right. You have to incentivize. It's got to do something on par with the other exotics.
Right.
And it would make perfect sense with the ones that are coming with the collector's edition, because if they're going to give you experience buffs for the people that haven't played the game yet, which is really who that was aimed at, then it'll help them get on level with everybody else faster.
Right.
So I was thinking about that the other day, and I think a good, or maybe not necessarily good or the best, but an interesting mechanism to possibly make that work, especially for folks who have not been able to level up to the extent that folks like us who have been playing since launch would be if there was an exotic class item that allowed another exotic to be equipped so that you could have 2 pieces of armor or something like that, but there would be some other kind of there would be some stat change to balance it out, but it would function sort of like set items did in set items do rather in other games. And wearing this and this together gives you some kind of further bonus, but that class item would have to be part of it.
Interesting.
Interesting. Could be fun.
So many options. Well, on that, I think we should probably start wrapping up. We're running a little long.
A little bit.
I know, me personally, like I like a good length podcast, but if it's multiple hours, then it's just difficult to get through. So
Yes.
then again,
So
I'll
everybody be quiet. We're leaving now.
that's right. I'm gonna cut out all the silence, and we'll lose another half hour. So it'll be awesome.
Nice.
and cut out all those insulting things I said about forum members.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Nicely done.
Oh man, well, thank you guys for joining, and this is number 4 of the Starside Lounge. We're getting it going again. And once again tonight we had Malagate show up halfway through, so welcome. Thank you for popping in.
No problem.
And we had Xenos and Levi.
Yep.
Yep. And Claude.
Hey.
And once again, I'm Beorn, and this was another wonderful episode of the Starside Lounge. Thank you for listening.
15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Woo! This is where you clap.
Were we supposed to be saying goodbye?
Goodbye.
Yeah, I never know what to say there.
I was very I was like, why are we introducing ourselves at the end?
Right.
I could re-record it.
Bye, y'all.
Yeah.
No,
I'm gonna leave all this in,
it doesn't matter.
just so everyone knows
So
how
is
confused we are.
is that Ghost Angel cloak going to have like a really good speed boost just for the stats? Because you don't have to. You get where I'm going with that one?
very-
Okay.
I do, as a matter of fact. You don't have to stop.
Yeah. But you don't want to be behind that guy. So.
That brings down the speed on other. It's kind of like banana peels.
Right.
There's sort of a greasy surface that gets left behind. You slip slide.
So, and to make it so they could actually show it in game, and since we're guardians filled with light, it'll just be glowing balls
Yeah.
that fall down.
No good.
So you won't be able to tell the difference between that and orbs of light.
It'll be a surprise when you get there.
Yeah.
This
an
sounds
orb.
like such a horrible idea.
What? You don't think me and Levi should be game designers?
As long as it's a red one.
Also, future war cult, if you wear any of that, your stats should just go down, I think.
But you can dance real good.
Yeah, you can dance really good and cheer on like soccer teams, but
I am currently removing Gwat Gill from my
Friends
friends
list.
list.
Friends list. Aw.
I think I might even have a future war cult cape on right now because I'm leveling it. So